Hello guys, what is up? Welcome back to Lexalexus. I've officially returned and officially Championship football has returned as well, and in a big way. We have got a hectic schedule now going all the way into New Year. It is non-stop predictions, non-stop football and non-stop drama. All the best news for us football lovers. Come at a bit of inconvenient time for me because I have got an exam in under 2 weeks time, so I don't know what I'm going to be doing about the next midweek set of games and the next set of predictions, but ultimately, if I have to do it via the prediction and community tab, I will just have to inform you guys that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be very busy, basically, so just apologies in advance if I cannot keep up with the schedule. But I think from December onwards, I will be very, very, free of time. So ultimately, just got to get through the last week of November. But anyway, enough about me. We're going to talk about the Championship. We've just gone through the international break. We've got 12 exciting games to predict. I always want to hear your thoughts in the comments down below because I honestly think you guys are really making this interesting as well, showing your thoughts and showing your predictions as well. Each prediction you make will also go into the Lexalexus Football Prediction League. There will be an update soon. As soon as my exam's out of the way, I'll have all the free time in the world, and that will be my priority to get that updated. So stay patient, guys. I am thinking about it whilst I'm still studying away. If you guys enjoy what you see, please smash the like button. It really does help the growth of this channel. Please do hit the subscribe button too if you haven't done, as we're trying to get to 3,000 subscribers. That'd be amazing if you could show your support. And please also share the channel too. All three of these things are free to do, and they really help. So, without any further ado, let's start predicting the first game of the Championship this weekend. We commence our predictions with Plymouth going up against Watford, and I got to say, I think this game is actually going to be a lot closer than what most of us are going to expect. Plymouth at home park this season have proven to be very, very competitive. They've picked up a majority of their points. I think over 90% actually of their points have come at home park this season. I mean, they've only picked up 2 away points all season, which says a lot that they are really doing the business at home. Watford have been doing relatively well, actually. I think their performances have certainly improved from last year. They're currently in the top 6 after winning against Oxford in their game just before the international break. The thing I'm going to keep regurgitating each time I do these videos post-international break is the momentum. Is it going to carry on here? Are certain players going to be back from injury that's going to elevate the team? Have players picked up injuries from international duty which could hinder the side? It's so difficult to call, and you can get a really good idea with this set of games of how they're going to cope. And right now, there's so much football going on. If any team does not look up for it already, they're going to have it quite pretty rough if they cannot get their act on. As a prediction here, I think with Plymouth being so good at home this season, I think I might edge them actually. Whilst Watford away from home have been okay, they've been a bit inconsistent at times too. So I'll compromise and I'll go for a 2-1 victory to Plymouth. I think they're competitive enough to get a home win. It will certainly be a really much needed win considering where Plymouth currently are in the Championship. But it will certainly be a good boost on their season. So I'm going with 2-1 Plymouth. Should be an interesting game, this one. We're now commencing to the 4 Saturday games, so we're going to start things off with Bristol City and Burnley. Really could be interesting, and honestly, both of these times being so hard to beat all season, it really wouldn't surprise me if this game ended in a draw. Bristol City have gone on a fantastic run of form at the moment. I think it's only 1 defeat in 10 matches, which is sensational. It's consistency that I've not really seen from Bristol City for quite some time, honestly. So I'm quite intrigued to see how, or if it will carry on within this game. But Burnley, not many goals occur with Burnley games, as we're discovering this season. And I think with this game, Burnley again will hold on to the ball. But their problem has been chance creation, which has been really, really well highlighted with commentators and pundits and everyone just observing Burnley this season. So I do think this game could seriously be a case of Bristol City creating the stronger chances, with Burnley holding a lot of the ball. And as a prediction, you know what? I've got a very sneaky feeling that it's going to be another frustrating game for Burnley and Bristol City carry on with their form, you know? I'm going to go for a 1-0 Bristol City win. Maybe a little bit bold, but I can honestly see with the way that Burnley are playing, I think they're almost playing to their own hands, and Bristol City are certainly capable of creating and taking their chances. So I'm going to go for a narrow 1-0 win, but really should be an intriguing matchup this. Next up, we've got Coventry going up against Sheffield United. Both teams in pretty different places in terms of their seasons, especially in terms of confidence and optimism. So Sheffield United have really improved their form, actually. 4 wins in a row, I believe, from those back-to-back defeats. So a brilliant response to that. And it ended with them being really, really competitive, actually within the top 6 and pushing for top 2, really. So really, really impressive. Then they got a crucial win in the Steel City derby before the international break as well. So Sheffield United is certainly picking up the clutch results. Coventry on their day could really actually give Sheffield United a really difficult game, but I don't know what version of Coventry we're going to get. Obviously, they're still looking for a permanent manager. It's been well documented of the managers they've been linked with, but no official announcement yet as of recording this video. Low in my luck, they'll probably announce a manager by the time this video comes out. But I will say with Coventry, they fought well to get a 2-2 draw against Sunderland in their last game before the international break. But I think based on the quality here, I am a little bit more confident with Sheffield United getting the points here. I think I'm going to go for a 2-1 away victory to Sheffield United. I think Coventry will make it close, but I think Sheffield United will just have a little bit too much for them, I think. So I'll go for a Sheffield United away win. Our final half 12 games see Sheffield Wednesday going up against Cardiff City. An intriguing encounter, I believe. Sheffield Wednesday need to pick up from that Steel City derby defeat to Sheffield United. But Cardiff themselves similarly need to pick up their entire form. They've really lost their momentum that they picked up when they were starting to climb out of the bottom 3. Suddenly now with back-to-back defeats, it is looking a little bit more precarious for Cardiff's chances now. And Cardiff have really struggled to pick up points on the road. Sheffield Wednesday have been pretty good overall with picking up points at home. So the stats would tell you that it should be Sheffield Wednesday that are the favourites. But again, with an international break, you know, certain momentum can shift. And honestly, I see this being quite open in scoreline points of view. A draw wouldn't surprise me, and either one winning by 1-0 either wouldn't surprise me as well. The thing I do predict, I don't think we'll see many goals. As a prediction, I have not predicted a draw yet. I think I'll predict a draw for this one. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I could see if any other side were to win would be Sheffield Wednesday, but I just have a sneaky feeling that Cardiff are going to get something here. So I'm going to go for a draw, which certainly would be a little bit unhelpful for both sides. We're finally delving into 3 PM kickoff territory. Blackburn and Portsmouth, which I think will be interesting. Blackburn actually had a bit of a shocking result in a good way against Cardiff. They had a pretty poor form at home, actually. Back-to-back home defeats going into that game and away from home against Cardiff. But a result that really came out of nowhere. They won by 3-1, and naturally it has meant that they've now climbed a little bit further up the table. Portsmouth themselves also similarly got a 3-1 win, and a bit out of the blue as well, because it was their first home win of the season against Preston. So I do think with players going back from injury, I think Portsmouth have been a bit more competitive. They've been a little bit better. But honestly here, with how Blackburn have been at home most of the time, I back them to have a little bit more chance creating in this one. And I do think they'll be able to take their chances a little bit more effectively than Portsmouth here. I think I'm going to go for a 2-1 home scoreline to Blackburn. But quite honestly, it's a result that can really flip either way. I'm going to be really intrigued to see what you predict for this game as well, because I really do think it's quite open. Next up, we see Luton and Hull facing each other. And I've got to say, both teams are in pretty pretty dire straits at this moment in terms of their league position. They are certainly struggling and are really precariously close to that danger zone. And actually, one game I do remember that actually both of these sides were facing relegation in the season. We have to go back to the pandemic year where Luton won a 6-pointer to almost put them within touching distance of staying up, but sending Hull down to League One. So could a result here foreshadow one of these sides having that fate in this season? You know, won't read too much into the conspiracy of that. But both managers are seriously under pressure. I wouldn't have been surprised if any one of these clubs made a change of manager, considering the ambition from both. But it looks like they've been given a chance, but I feel like this game is the last straw, I would find. Luton definitely underperforming for what they've been expected. Hull, I think they were expected to do a little bit better than what they were doing as well. Certainly not as low down as they are. As a prediction, with it being at Kenilworth Road, I think it'll be Luton that have the edge. What I have seen of Luton, they have looked better at home than away. But Hull have looked better away than they have done at home. So it's really tough. But I think I'm going to go for a Luton win. I'm going to go for a 2-0 victory to Luton. But quite honestly, any scoreline could happen in that game. I'll be really interested to see your comments on this game. And especially if you think either one of these managers could be facing the sack after this game as well. So let me know what you think in the comments. Next up, we see Millwall and Sunderland going head-to-head here. This, I think, will be quite intriguing, honestly. Millwall, on the most part, have really been giving teams a pretty big game and have been getting the better of most of these sides based on their high position in the table. Now, they were only able to draw in their last game before the international break, which they probably would have felt a little bit disappointing that they couldn't get more than a draw in the way that they did. Sunderland, obviously, they're still cruising in the top 2 in the Championship, which is fun for them. But their form has taken a bit of a nosedive. They've drawn 3 games in a row, so they're winless technically in 3. They have got a pretty big injury list, and of course we know that Joe Bellingham is facing his suspension, 3-game suspension actually, and right now I do think that gap in the midfield is certainly affecting things for Sunderland, but they found a way to still get a draw out of it. Most teams would have only found a way to lose in those situations. So I've been very impressed with both sides for different reasons this season. As a prediction, no, this is quite a toughie. I think I'm going to compromise for a 1-1 draw. I actually wouldn't be surprised if either one of them wins by a 1-goal margin, but I'm going to play it safe for this one. I can't really edge either one of them. So I'm going to go for a draw. Maybe I'm just playing it a little bit safe, but I can't back either one of them. Next game to predict is Oxford and Middlesbrough. I've got to say both teams with contrasting runs of form, but honestly, we know already the momentum could shift or could be completely halted completely from the international breaks point of view. Middlesbrough have had the upturn in their form. They've looked really impressive actually in the past couple of games or so. But they can also throw a game away as well, as I also witnessed against Norwich City. And against Oxford here, I really do think Oxford could put some difficulty to Middlesbrough, because at home, they've been so competitive with every single game they played. It didn't matter what opposition, Oxford are going to make it very, very difficult. Now, with this game here, I do think with the confidence that front line that Middlesbrough have at the moment, I think that might mean more chances will be created. I think more players will take their chances here, and it just makes it so much harder for Oxford to stay compact, since they may need to attack themselves. Prediction here, I don't know. I'm going to go for a 2-1 away victory to Middlesbrough. I think it will be a Middlesbrough win, but I do think it's actually going to be pretty close overall, since Oxford have been really, really competitive in each home game that they've played this season. This could be a really crucial game at Deepdale. Preston and Derby. Preston's form has certainly sparked a concern, and that Portsmouth result that they had before the international break certainly left a sour taste in many Preston fans' mouths, considering that Portsmouth hadn't won a home game all season until they played against Preston as well. They're conceding way too many goals. I think their confidence has just been hit, because some of their recent performances have been terrible, but they've just thrown away leads very, very needlessly, and they're just conceding way too many now. Derby, they have turned a little bit of a turnaround in terms of their away form. Their away form was looking quite shoddy, but they did recently win away from home brilliantly, in fact. So I do think Derby are on the right way up there in that mid-table position, which I do think is somewhat exceeding their expectations ever so slightly. So you've got to give praise to what Paul Warne has done to the players, and the players themselves deserve the praise as well. Prediction here, honestly, Preston, I don't know, to be honest. I think the safest bet for me is I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I really can't back either one of these sides. Derby could easily get something, but I think Preston are not going to make it easy. So, I'll compromise with a draw in the end. Next sees QPR and Stoke. I mean, QPR need the points more than anything. They're bottom of the table. The only side in the Championship to have not won a home game so far this season is a pretty damning stat, honestly. So, I do need to see positivity in QPR's home games if they're going to have any sort of chance of surviving. Stoke, I've got to say, have actually won a winning formula quite recently, so they would have been quite annoyed with the international break occurring because they did feel that Stoke were starting to figure things out. So I will be interested to see if they can carry that on here. I honestly don't see many goals in this game. I think QPR will be pretty nervous. Stoke have not been the best side at creating chances. I'm going to say this is the game that ends a 0-0 draw. And even if I'm wrong, I think it'll either be a 1-goal scoreline or a 1-1 draw. But I'm going to compromise. I'm actually going to say 0-0 just based on the fact that I don't think there's going to be many opportunities for both sides here. So, yeah, thinking this one could be a pretty boring one in terms of scoreline, but certainly a very unhelpful one for QPR's survival chances. Penultimate game sees West Brom and Norwich. I mean, if there's any time you've got to play Norwich, I think it's now. With the injuries that they've got and certainly the form that they've had, I think this is certainly one of the better times to be playing Norwich. Winless in 6 Norwich are, and that's reflected within their mid-table position in the table. It's unfortunate timing for them because it looked like that they were starting to figure things out, and then the crop of injuries from their players has really made things so much more difficult for Norwich, and they've just not recovered since. West Brom, so they've actually won their first game in 7 in their last game before the international break. They had 6 draws before then, which is crazy to have that level of consistency of being really draw heavy. Here, I can honestly see this being a little bit open. Norwich can certainly give a good account of themselves, and they can get a result if Norwich prioritise on defending. But if Norwich do spark out to try and outscore West Brom, I think they will be punished. A draw wouldn't surprise me, but I'm actually going to go for a 2-1. I was going to go for a Norwich win, but actually I'm going to go 2-1 West Brom. I'm going to change my mind last minute. I really do sense that it could flip either way. I think this is going to be a pretty close one, so I'm really intrigued, guys, to see what you are going to predict for this game as well, because I can honestly see all outcomes happening in this one. It's quite an open one, I say. And finally, to conclude Championship Week 16, we've got Swansea and Leeds. An interesting encounter, and what I have noticed with Swansea, very little action in terms of goals occurs in their games. And I'm thinking here, they can easily not only quiet Leeds, but they can get a result against a silenced Leeds. And I've got to say, Leeds on the road haven't been too consistent. They've been so much more stronger at Ellen Road. So I think this is going to be a pretty tough game, honestly. I could see both sides really, sticking with what they know. I think Leeds will hold on to the ball, but it's just a question, can they get something out of it? Prediction, it's going to be 1 goal in it, I think, or a draw. Draw wouldn't surprise me, but I'm going to make it a bit more interesting. I'm going to go for a 1-goal scoreline. I'm going to say Leeds for a 1-0 scoreline, following the fact that Swansea have been competitive against the top 6, but have just missed out on winning. I think it's going to be history repeating itself here, and I think Leeds might just get the benefit of the doubt here, just this time around. So I am going to go for a narrow Leeds win. Just like that, guys, I finished predicting for Week 16 in the Championship. As I said in the intro, if I can't do Week 17 or Week 18, I will let you know, because I've got lots of studies at the moment. This is pretty much like the last video that I'm going to be doing. before I'm really delved into the work. So just an FYI in case I decide to vanish again for a couple of weeks or so. But if you guys enjoyed the video today, please do smash the like button. Please do leave your predictions and thoughts in the comments down below, since predicting games will score you points in the Lexalexus Football Prediction League as well. Liking, subscribing and sharing is free to do, and all three of these things really do help the growth of this channel too. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are legendary over the end of this video, and as always, I'll see you guys soon. Take care, everyone.